Good morning, Stephen Talbot here. It is 9:34 in the morning on Thursday, August the 3rd. I hope your day is off to a great start. Mine certainly is. Today, I wanted to talk about getting emotional when you're exercising. I've done a little bit of Google research on the subject, but I've read a few different things. One of the things, well, first of all, let me clarify what I'm talking about. I did some stretches the other day because stretching is not something I typically do. So I was on YouTube and I was searching for, beginners or stretching for beginners, and I found a video. And as I was doing these stretches, there's these certain positions that I would get in where I would just bust out in uncontrollable laughter. I mean, nothing was funny. Actually, the thought was going through my head, like, this girl is on here, like, flexible as can be, and she's, like, practically doing the splits on the floor. And I'm thinking, I can't not do that. Are she fucking kidding me? And so I was laughing at that a little bit, but I don't know if I was just laughing at myself or what, but I noticed when I do this certain stretch that I laugh uncontrollably. So that was the first thing. And then I noticed whenever I really, really work up a sweat, like, your skin when it first starts to break the sweat, you can feel it. If you just work a little harder, you're going to break through to a sweat, like a really good sweat. Whenever I really get going, sometimes I get really emotional, as in, like, I start crying. And I don't cry out of sadness. I cry out of happiness. I feel like confidence, and I feel an overwhelming confidence and overwhelming thoughts of, you know what, I can do anything that I want. Anything that I put my mind to, I can do. Anything that I want to accomplish, I can do that. And I can live, heaven on earth, as it were. So, I don't know. I've done some research, and some of the research suggests, and actually my aunt said this as well, some of the research suggests that if your body is going through some major changes, like especially if you've been sedentary for a long period of time, like for many years, like I was, and then you start putting your body through all of these changes, that your mind, your emotional self, wants to catch up with your physical self. And that makes sense to me to a degree. But the part that I can't really figure out is that, as I alluded to, or as I mentioned in my last video, I've already been through a weight loss journey once before in my early 20s where I lost 100 pounds. And I don't remember this at all. I never got emotional, but I think the reason for that is because in my early 20s, I also DJ'd and controlled the lights at a local after-hours club. So literally I would work every weekend on Friday and Saturday from about midnight until about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I did a lot of drugs. I did a lot of ecstasy and other drugs as well. But so I'm just thinking that maybe then, even though I may not have been doing drugs all through the week, when I was exercising before or after work every day or whatever, whenever, in case you're not familiar, whenever I was on ecstasy anyway, people used to say that you would have these Tuesday blues, or they call it Black Tuesday. So you might do ecstasy on the weekend, and then by the time Tuesday rolled around, you'd feel like really depressed. And so basically, I think what I get from that is that those drugs are still in your body, and obviously it takes time for your body to kick those drugs out. So I'm thinking it could be an age thing, or it could just be... Okay, sorry. Hopefully I can stitch those two videos together. I accidentally stopped the video. Anyway, what I was saying is, hopefully, it was either an age thing, or possibly it was the drugs, right? And maybe the fact that those drugs were still in my system, and by the time they probably got out of my system, Friday started again. So maybe I never gave my body a chance to feel those emotions. And my aunt said, whenever you are working out really hard and you start getting emotional, and you start feeling these feelings, take a minute to think and to really dig deep into why you might overeat, or why you might not, or why you may not exercise every day, or what got you to this place to begin with. And as I said before, I've always been heavy my entire life. Maybe there's stuff that stems from childhood. I don't know. Actually, I would love to see a therapist, and I think I've mentioned that before as well. I have never seen a therapist. My mom always advocated the use of therapy. And I'm probably going to mention her 1,000 times, but Shailene Johnson, if you've not heard of her, I highly recommend that you look her up on Stitcher or Pocket Cast or iTunes or whatever. She also is a big advocate of therapy. So maybe that's something that I will explore whenever I get a chance to go see a therapist. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about today. No, I think that's it. If you have experience with getting emotional, having emotional outbursts, whether it be laughter or sadness or joy or whatever, when you're exercising, I would love to hear about your experiences in the comments below, as I'm sure everybody else would as well. So we'll see you next time. Enjoy yourself.